It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central, and in today's video, I want to discuss my ideal Yasmine team on my particular server and occasion. And if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, I do informational, educational videos for new players for the Hero Wars and Hero Wars mobile platform. So if that describes you, please consider subscribing and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a video. And if you do find this video helpful, please consider caressing that like button, as it will help get my videos in front of other new Hero Wars players just like you. So a couple of weeks ago, we had Yasmine released, and one of my subscribers and I had a great idea to start a brand new account on a brand new server just to have a little fun. Get Yasmine to absolute star in one sitting, which I did. It took me about 3.5 hours and a couple of dollars, couple of $1 to $2 to get me there. And with the goal in mind to create a whole new team, a whole new top 5 on a brand new server, quote unquote, dominate that server with this team and have a little fun with heroes that I would not have used otherwise to begin with. And while that goal has slightly changed a little bit, considering I didn't take into certain things into account, I had some plans on what team I was going to use with Yaz. And the team that I ultimately settled on may or may not work for you, but I think it's a very strong team. And this is a video about my thoughts on that team. So whatever it came down to it, I do want to say that several people had the same idea I did. Several big spenders came to the new server, and it's server 53 on Facebook, with the intention of creating a brand new account to build around Yaz. And in fact, most of the top 10, most of the top 25, in fact, are using Yasmine at absolute star. And that's their team, their dodge team or their hybrid dodge team or whatever you want to call it. And I had intended on creating a dodge team, thinking that I was gonna dominate everyone. But now that I see that everyone is using Yasmine on this team, we have to adapt a little bit. And it is just as simple as throwing in Helios. That is actually 100% the case. Helios against Yasmine is an auto win. At least it deletes the opponent's Yasmine pretty much instantly because of Helios's anti-critical hit abilities. Very, very strong hero to counter there. So short of that, I wanted a team with Yasmine that could effectively beat the meta. And what the meta is, first of all, it's a ridiculous term because every server is different. But what the meta is the most effective or the most efficient tactic available. And on most servers that have been established, that have been around for a little while, you have a Kark team like my Bob team that I have up here, or a similar, or a variant of that. You have a couple of Twins teams. You might have some Kira Blender teams. You might have some Satori teams, some Homer Simpson, Dorian, Orion, Helios teams. A lot of different variants of Ginger, Kira, Ju teams. Everybody's server is different. Everybody's servers are different, but I wanted to find a team that could consistently beat the most popular variants of those teams. And after some figuring out, I finally did manage to find one. Now, will it actually work on my server when it's all said and done because of the prevalence of Yasmine? That is, who knows? We'll see. So the first thing that we needed to do was decide on a tank. Now, obviously, I wanted to go with Aurora. Aurora was my first choice. Aurora came to you early in the game, so you can get her soul stones pretty quickly early in the game. She is a dodge tank. That is her main form of mitigation is dodge. She provides dodge for the entire team. I was trying to build a dodge team using Kain as the pet. I thought Aurora was the go-to. All right, so you have Aurora as an option for sure. You could argue that Cleaver would be good. Right? You could say that Galahad would be good, providing physical attack for Yasmine. Heck, you could even say Astaroth would be good. Right? Because, reviving a weak and squishy hero and Yasmine providing tanking abilities. I'd already leveled up Astaroth a couple of times, so I was dead set on using Yasmine. I got Luther pretty early. Out of a heroic chest. I thought maybe Luther could be good. He jumps over there. Yasmine is behind, dodging a little bit. Kind of consider that to be effective. Or you could go no tank. A lot of Elmer teams go no tank, and they use the dodge hero up front to absorb the damage, hopefully killing your opponent quick enough that it doesn't matter. So the other side of this, now we have the damage dealer already in Yasmine. The other side of this is the healer. So the healer and tank, you often want to decide what you're going to use based on, you know, the tank that you chose. And I was looking at Thea, fast healing, you know, silences for the twins, because Yasmine is very weak against magic damage, very weak against magic damage. And I was hoping that having Thea could slow down the twins' damage, maybe slow down Helios's skills, so maybe Thea could get a couple hits off before she dies. Dorian is also an effective healer if you get him in the right position. And I thought, hey, you know, Dorian provides physical attack, could be good, stacking with Yasmine. All right. Of course, you have Martha, classic healer. But what I found is that this team was a little too slow. I'm sorry, it was a little too fast to use Martha as a healer. So that combined with the inability to easily get Martha on a new account, I nixed Martha pretty easily. Oh, I should mention that I was thought about using Anvari as a tank as well, as other a couple of, you know, tanky heroes there. So who did I ultimately land on for my tank and my healer? Well, for fun mostly, we're going to do Chaba and Marcus. Chaba recently got a rework. He was a dead battery tier hero up until about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. And I think Marcus's skill set is uniquely interesting with this team. And I'll discuss the whole team holistically as I work through it. But Chaba being the tank, I was looking for a way to take out Krista tank teams better. And Chaba swallows Krista. So I'll touch on the synergies a little bit more in a second. So going with these two, I already am completely dropping the dodge mechanic. You know, I was looking at doing a Heidi variant with Yaz. I was looking at doing an Elmer variant with Yaz. You know, having a solid dodge team across the board so that Kane, the pet Kane, could rack up his little shurikens or daggers or whatever you want to call them quickly to take out the enemy attacking team. But in practice, it did not end up being as effective as I thought. Now, part of it is you can't, and this is all based on max testing, of course. And you can't max test Kane. You can't max test pets. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult to figure out for sure if a team was going to work. And case in point, a lot of the teams that I was testing without Kane were doing extremely well with Kane whenever the developers, when the community managers did a live stream about Yasmine and included Kane. And Kane is, we'll talk about pets in a second, but Kane adds so much to this team, but it's not just Kane. There are 2 or 3 other pets that are really effective for this team. So just kind of looking at this, I was like, man, this is not, like, I'm already, you know, diverging away from the dodge team and looking at the top teams on my server already. They're filled with Yasmine teams. They're filled with dodge. So it's just a random crapshoot on who hits who. So I thought, how can I smooth out this curve a little bit on both against the meta and also against the teams on my server? Because inevitably there will be twins teams on my server. There will be Kark teams on my new server. There is already a very strong Dorian, Orion, Helios team on my server that I got to figure out how to defeat. And, you know, how can I defeat that? And honestly, dodge has not proven to be the answer. So using these 3, I also was having the most trouble with the twins. So I thought to try Sebastian. And Sebastian, of course, provides additional critical hit chance as well as bonus pure damage on critical hits, natural pairing with a critical hit hero like Yasmine. Of course, Sebastian on Facebook provides a very strong shield against debuffs, and Sebastian by himself is often enough to delay the twins' damage output long enough to allow this team to do its work, to allow this team to do great, strong damage. So I already had a healer, I got a tank, I got a damage dealer, I got a support. I was thinking about who the final hero would be. And the other team that I was having trouble with was fast area of effect teams like the Kira Blender team. So I thought, let's try Leon. And this, it wasn't just a matter of throwing, 5 heroes together, 2 supports together that counter 2 important teams. It was a lot of testing. There was a lot of testing that went into this. We tried Fox, we tried Kark, we tried Celeste, Jorgen, we tried Rufus, we tried even, stuff like Phobos. And when it came down to it, this team did surprisingly well against the majority of Kark teams. Obviously, if you sub in Helios in your Kark team, like Tim Davis's variant, this team is going to lose versus that Helios version. And it also did surprisingly well against the majority of Twins teams, and of course a lot of the other teams as well. This team just outdamages. So let's talk a little bit about the synergy of this team while I'm going to start this fight here. It's gonna take a second to load. Whenever it gets into it, I'm gonna pause, and I'm gonna talk a little bit. Boom. Okay, so you can see here how the lineup is a little different. Now, Yasmine is a frontline hero. Traditionally, she's second in line behind the tank. Marcus pushes her back just a little bit, and this is important. This is very important, but it's also a downside to this team. All right, so I'll get to that in a second. First and foremost, let's talk about Chaba and why I like Chaba. Okay, so let's skip this battle. Let's go look at Chaba as a tank. Now, Chaba has the unique ability to remove... Where's my Chaba at? Here we go. Chaba's primary ability, Wild Hunger, will swallow the current target for 6 seconds. While the target is swallowed, it slowly receives damage. So this is usually the tank. So Chaba usually swallows the tank, removes the tank from the fight. All right. Now, the majority of tanks do what is called cleave damage. That is, they hit the entire front row, usually the front tank and the support hero, be it Ching Mao or, if Kark or Kira is there. So the tank oftentimes is hitting the tank plus the second line hero in line, which is often causing Yasmine's ultimate ability, and let's find Yasmine here. Yasmine's ultimate ability is a very strong damage, single target damage attack, but it targets the enemy that last attacked her for 3 seconds. So the idea behind using Chaba takes the tank completely out of the fight. He doesn't stun the tank or put the tank to sleep or blind the tank. Takes the tank completely out of the fight. Okay, so if the tank is the last person to have hit Yasmine, no longer can she attack Yasmine. I'm sorry, no longer can Yasmine attack the tank. She will attack the second hero in line on the opponent's team. This is similar to how Faceless pushes the tank back so that Kark can damage the second hero in line on most popular Kark teams. So what will end up happening is Yasmine will target the second hero in line or another hero on the team. And a big downside to Yasmine is the lack of her armor penetration. So if she uses this ultimate ability on a tank, which is statistically the most probable because of how frequent basic attacks are from the opponent's tank, a lot of her damage is going to be wasted. Unless you have an armor penetration hero that's already fired off their ultimate ability, a lot of Yasmine's damage is going to be wasted on that tank. So I thought that Chaba and Yasmine was an ideal combination. Chaba removes that tank. Yasmine targets another squishy hero on the opponent's team. Maybe it's the warrior in the second position. Maybe it's the mage in the back. Maybe it's the healer. Maybe the healer's basic attack hit her and she crushes the hero. It's random, but it's a 1 in 4 chance of targeting a not tank hero. I'm sorry, it's a 100% chance of not targeting a tank, but a 1 in 4 chance of targeting the opponent's main damage dealer or the opponent's main healer with the inclusion of Chaba. And Chaba usually uses his swallow ability at least once before he dies. So it's a nice little combination there. But why Marcus? Why Marcus in this team? And I apologize that the bottom of this is a little cut off. So Marcus is one of the strongest healers in the game now. He doesn't provide much utility like Thea does in her speed, or Martha does with her speed, or Dorian does with his team vampirism. A little bit of damage there. What Marcus does is he provides a shield. It's a complete invulnerability shield. It blocks all damage for 5 seconds. And this is cast on the ally with the lowest health, which is often Yasmine. Okay, so the idea behind using Marcus is whenever Yasmine jumps forward, or if she's behind him, Marcus's righteous is it righteous light? Yeah, righteous light ability will heal in front of and behind. So no matter where Yasmine is, Marcus will heal her, but he also has an opportunity to often put this shield on there. And what this has shown to be effective is against Helios. So if this happens to land on Yasmine, if this holy shield is on Yasmine, whenever she does her ultimate, whenever she crits the enemy, then Helios's damage doesn't come through. And it's random, and it doesn't happen every time, but it is often enough that it's important. Okay, Marcus does provide a little bit of damage as well. But going back to that fight that I showed you earlier, Marcus pushes. Let's see. Marcus pushes. Where did that fight go? Here you go. Marcus pushes Yasmine back just enough that it matters. Just enough that it matters. Let's get back in here and then pause. So pushing Marcus back. I'm sorry, pushing Yaz back protects Yaz from the cleaving of the tank, the cleaving of, you know, the hero in the second position. I did mention that it is a downside because often she doesn't have an opportunity to dodge as many attacks, but usually there's enough, you know, area of effect attacks and, you know, heroes moving around that it ends up not mattering. But that's kind of my thought process with Marcus. Now, obviously we know the strength of Sebastian. You know, we know about how Sebastian is effective against the twins. This is on Facebook. You know, removes all debuffs, including watermarks. This increases critical hit chance for all allies. Critical hit for Yasmine applies more poisons, does more pure damage, does more damage overall. We have the extra pure damage on critical hits. And then, Sebastian enters the fight with a lot of energy already and usually can fire this off before the opponent. So, good all-around support hero for your damage dealers. Okay, for your critical hitting damage dealer, which of course is Yasmine. So finally we have the icing on the cake, Lian. Now, my thought process for Lian was that the majority of these heroes are single target damaging heroes. Chaba's big attack is a single target damage dealer, right? He swallows the enemy tank. Yasmine is a single target damage dealer. Only one of Marcus's abilities, his healing damaging wave, damages all enemies, and that only fires off once every 10 to 12 seconds, I believe. Yasmine, of course, single target damage. Sebastian doesn't have any damaging skills. He does only single target basic attack damage. So Lian was an interesting idea to keep the opponents asleep as, you know, when she ultimates, and you could potentially put a bunch of enemies to sleep and they could potentially stay asleep for a long time. For, you know, 3 to 5 to even the full 7 seconds. This also combats cleaver teams. Okay, cleaver will not hook Lian. It's impossible to hook Lian as a cleaver. It'll also, you know, help out a little bit against area of effect damaging teams like the twins or some cases Kark. In every case, Kira. All right, she does have a good amount of pure damage as well. Okay, that she fires at the nearest enemies, which also happens to stack with Chaba. So if Chaba's eaten an enemy, then this will hit the second enemy in line, the warrior, the Kark, the Kira, the Qingmao, in some cases the Jorgen, that second enemy in line. A lot of cases it's Celeste, the second enemy in line. So this helps damage that second hero in line quite a bit. Of course, you have the this one right here that also does basically the same thing. 5 magical spheres at the nearest enemy. And then finally you have this, her signature ability to put all enemies to sleep that attack her and deal damage to Lian. So because of all this, and I guess I should go ahead and evolve Lian while I'm here. Yay, 6-star Lian on my main account. Because of all of this, this is the team that I ultimately went with. This team, well, let's just hero battle. Kind of went a little backwards here. So Chaba, Marcus, Lian, Sebastian, Yaz. Roundabout, strange team. Definitely off meta. It is very effective so far. Obviously, I don't have Sebastian unlocked yet on my new account, but I will next month. Very effective in the campaign. Very effective against bosses in the campaign. It has proven so far to be pretty effective in the arena, with the exception of teams that have Helios. And once I get leveled up, I'm hoping that Marcus and Lian will help me against Helios a little bit more. It consistently beats Twins teams. It consistently beats most variants of Kark teams. It consistently beats the Kira Blender and most Kira variants. To me, this is the team to go with. Now let's talk about pets. All right. So unfortunately, you guys on mobile, you don't have access to pets yet, or if at all. So the easy pet to get is Kane. Now Kane has an interesting ability. If once he's patron to your entire team, each time a person on your team dodges, he will gain one of these little night fang shuriken things, whatever you call them. Kunais, I think, is actually what they're called. And this will do a ton of damage against the nearest enemy, which also happens to work well with Chaba. Chaba swallows the nearest enemy. This often hits the second hero in line. You also have this right here that increases the dodge for the entire team. Yes, this works on heroes that don't have dodge. It is a nice little perk to help stack the night things. But the really, really awesome skill is this one. Master gains bonus energy for each successful dodge. So you put Kayn on Yasmine, and now every time, once Kayn is maxed out, obviously it's going to take a while to max out my Kayn here, but once Kayn is maxed out, every time that Yasmine dodges, she will gain 35% energy. So she dodges, 3 times on top. Actually, if she dodges basically twice on top of the dodge energy that she gains, she's going to be ulting every time she dodges 2 to 3 times, every time. So she's going to have massive damage output. So you don't put Kayn on the whole team. You don't put Kayn on the whole team because your whole team isn't a dodge team anymore, which I thought was going to be the case. I thought Kayn was going to be the hero or the pet for the whole team, but I don't think so. I think it's ultimately going to end up being Oliver, if I'm being honest. Right? Oliver protects, adds a healing against physical damage. All right, very strong there. Mara is interesting, right? Because this will deal extra damage to charmed enemies, which is what, Leon does. So it could be helpful for the whole team. All right, mind control, another interesting perk there. This right here increases the duration of stun, blind, silence, slow, charm, and mind control effects. This one could be a really strong contender to patron to Leon, but I don't think it's going to be the team. I don't think it's going to be the team pet. I think ultimately the team pet is going to be Oliver. I think we're going to put Mara on Leon. Obviously, we're going to put Kayn on Yasmine. We'll probably patron Oliver to Chaba, and then from there, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do with Sebastian and Marcus. But against the Twins teams, though, we're going to take Kayn off. We're going to take Kayn off of the off of Yasmine, because they're not going to be, Yasmine isn't going to be dodging as much. So against the Twins teams, we're going to use Albus, because Albus adds pure damage, increases the pure damage dealt. Even at this low level, even at level 56, 3-star gray, she's adding 10% pure damage to all pure damage dealt, which isn't much, but those poison ticks, those poison procs do add up over time. This will add up over time. So Albus will be patroned to Yasmine when I'm against the Twins, if I have an opportunity to, and I'll level them both up eventually. So this has been a fun discussion about the team that I'm using and why I'm using it. I think it's a fantastic team. I think it's my favorite part about it is I'm using heroes that nobody really thinks of to use. Chaba and Marcus, of course, Chaba was improved on Facebook not long ago, so it's kind of nice to use an improved hero. He's got some fantastic skins, the Garfield the cat skin and the Christmas tree skin. Sebastian's going to be the hardest hero to get. Leon and Marcus are both got from the Grand Arena. Chaba is got from the Arena, and of course you got Yasmine from the weekend event. Yasmine will not be available from the heroic chest for a while. Yasmine won't be available from the 28-day chest on Facebook for a while. So I'm really glad I got her absolute star knocked out of the way pretty quick. Now I got to figure out how to get Sebastian. So strong team. I love this team, and I hope you enjoyed this team breakdown on why I ultimately went with this. It was literally hours of max testing against different Twins teams, writing down notes, different Kark teams, different teams that I'm going up against now in my current in the new server. So I really enjoy this team, and I hope you do too. I hope you enjoy watching me play on my new account, and if you don't, that's fine too. But, I love you all, and good luck in Dominion on the new servers.